Okay, so yeah, so I'll be starting from this project in JSP. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll create a simple project in JSP, and the idea behind this. Okay, so first I want to ask that what is what tool are you comfortable with?
I use NetBeans.
NetBeans? Oh, that's good. That's very good. So let me start with NetBeans because I'm also comfortable with NetBeans as well. That's good. Okay, so there's this idea that I have this simple project in my mind that it will be like, you can say, um, what we can make. Okay, we can make a store, a simple store that any user will be able to uh, buy some products, and also has its card functionality, and also a sample payment method that they can, if they want to top up their profile or top up their balance, just like many other apps today has this feature. Not all of them, but many of the apps in today's market have this feature that if you want to buy anything, you can also top up your account, and then you can buy anything, and that will be deducted from that account. So this feature can also be implemented, and the payment gateway can be simple. So let's start.
Okay, excuse
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
me, brother.
Yes, please.
My friend Salim wants to join the
Yeah,
meeting.
sure, sure, sure. Please go ahead, go ahead. I'll also
Okay,
explain to him what I'm gonna do.
thank you. You will join
Welcome.
now.
Okay. Has he joined?
Now, within a second.
Okay, okay. I can wait.
I think you should accept his, yeah.
Okay. He's connecting. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam warahmatullah.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, brother, I'm conducting this session in which we'll cover the topics of JSP, and also one more thing that I want to add here, that when we'll be conducting this session, we will be learning JSP with continuing some project, right? So we'll be following some project, and in that project we'll learn many concepts of JSP. So I was talking that we want to create a project where the user can make his account and then buy stuff, and can also look at the stuff. And in that project, it will have the card functionality. The user can also add something to the card, and also um, we'll be doing stuff like if he wants to buy anything, he can buy, but if his balance is not that much, that then he'll have to top up, and then he can add any of the payment methods, or if you want to buy directly, you can buy directly. So we are going to add all of those features during those features. We'll be also using concepts like cookies, sessions, that we'll be covering in this project. So in today's session, I'll be making a simple JSP project, and as of you are also comfortable with NetBeans, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's create a project. Okay, we'll be creating a new project, and I'll write the name, for instance. But what should we name it? Mm, online, online, mm, online supermarket, for instance. I guess nobody can get that simple. Okay, and now we'll be using uh, Apache Tomcat server, and the Java version that I'm using is Java Enterprise 7 for the web. After that, We're going to finish this up, leaving everything unchecked. It will take some time. I hope it's created. Yeah, it is created. Let's open this up. So as you can see, our project is created, and this is online supermarket. NetBeans has created this project for us, and in this project we have 4 folders that is created for us. This is the web pages that would contain all the web pages, for instance, all the CSS files, all the JavaScript files, and all the scripting that is related to the front end will be conducted or will be stored in this web pages folder. The next folder, that is the source packages, will contain all the packages in which we'll keep our servlets, we'll keep our uh, other packages related to our business logic, for instance, uh, dat- database communication, etc. And every Java code will be placed in this source packages. So moving on to the next folder, this folder has already 2 folders on its account. For instance, we can see here this is a JDK and Java development kit associated here, and also Apache Tomcat server instance being associated here, so that we can use the Java, we can use the Tomcat server features over to our project. Also, there are some configurations file. I'm sorry. Also, there are some Java configuration files related to this project. For instance, manifest and other context files, etc. And in this context.xml, we have also this context path. It's very important, and we'll use it. Believe me, we'll use it in today's session. So starting off with this, we have this index.html that we'll not use, but just to verify that our project is running. So I'll sample, for the sample, I'll check if this project is running. We'll have to do some, we'll wait some time. And also,
Excuse me, while it's running, I want to ask you, should we use Apache Tomcat server, or because in our classes we stuck with Glassfish?
yeah, you can use Glassfish. You can also use Tomcat. That's totally dependent on you. But at the end of the day, at the crux of every server, we are using the same technology, JSP, right? So that's not really matters to anyone.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go, brothers. As we can see, the project is already instantiated, and we can see that our project is running successfully and is created, by the way. We haven't done anything yet. So what I will do, I will first of all delete this index.html file from here. And now I would do something. For first of all, I would create one folder, includes, that will that will contain all the, you can say, reusable stuff in our views, that I will explain it later. Also a folder that would contain the CSS files, and the folder that will contain, for instance, JavaScript files as well. Also, we'll create some new folders if needed, but for right now, these are the basic folders that I've created thus far. For now, also I will, I'm going to create a new JSP. I hope you are all familiar with the JSP file, right? Java server pages.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
For,
Okay. So I would name it index, and here it is. Okay, let me close this one and also this as well. Okay. So here, as we can see, there is a lot to do. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, for a good design, I always use Bootstrap. And you guys also are familiar with Bootstrap. So what I'll do, I'll go to Bootstrap. And this is very old version. So let me toss up to the new version. Yeah. Uh, I will go, even 4 is not the new one. Mm, yeah, there it is. I will go to 5.1. It is the latest, and it is, it is always good to use the latest version because you never know. However, in this project, I'll be using the CDNs right now. So I'll paste this whole template here. Now we must see, we must analyze this template before doing anything. And let me refresh this. And there we go. We got our Bootstrap loaded in our project. But first we need to check this one. Now this is a simple, any kind of an HTML template with Bootstrap loading. And here we can see we have this Bootstrap CSS CDN. I would say Bootstrap CSS CDN is being linked to this page. And this is always good when your page, when your website is deployed onto the live server. But when we are working locally, so it is always recommended by the professionals to download the Bootstrap files and then use local Bootstrap files. And when you are onto the development server, and when you're onto the live server, sorry to say, when you're onto the live server, it is very good to use the CDN. However, if you following that with the title that shows the title of the page, these are all the basics, the body tag, and also there are there are JavaScript, there are Bootstrap JavaScript uh, links that shows how it is done. Okay, so for the scripts of Bootstrap, there are two options, by the way. The first option says that okay, you can include the whole bundle. Okay, and the second option says that you can separate all these popper and popper.js files and bootstrap.js files. So that is totally on you. But these are all the bundles. So it would be better if we keep the first one and ignore the second one. Okay, and yeah, so this is how it is done. These are the script files of the Bootstrap linked with this CDN. And also onto the upper hand, if you can see, we have the CSS CDN. Okay, now one thing what we need to analyze is that when we are working with our web project, there are always some scenarios where we know that there are some parts or some components of our web project that are always going to be same. For instance, the navigation is always going to be the same. Some footer is always going to be the same. So there is no need to change these files every time we need to code the same code again and again. So in order to avoid that situation, what we'll do, I'll create two JSP files. I'll go to the JSP. I'll name this header, and one file I'll name this footer, so that we code once and then we don't have to replicate our code again and again onto the other pages. Now, what I will do is that I will copy the header section of my template. I'll cut this one. I'll paste it over here, and also for the footer, I'll cut this one and I'll paste it over here. Now, the second thing, now, for instance, I do not do anything, right? And if I, for instance, try to reload this page, it's all messed up. I know, because now the Bootstrap is not linked. But for instance, if I, okay, so to include the header in our file, what we must do, we must use the JSP tags. And I hope that you guys are familiar with the JSP tags, right?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, so JSP, which is the Java server pages, Java server page, as you know, when we request any source from the server, it actually loads that request and it gets all the files based on that request, and when it is finished and when all the processes are finished, what it does, it gets the file from the container, and JSP files is actually rendered as the HTML file. It it contains some code that is related to Java and some code that is in some HTML markup code. So what it does, it renders up the Java code and gives the final result as an HTML and gives the HTML page in response. So when I say these tags, we use these tags in JSP in order to tell the Java server pages or the Java server, to be more explicit, that we are trying to include this header file to our index.jsp. And to do that, what we do, that I use these symbols. This is smaller than and greater than symbol, and between that symbol I need to insert 2% symbols, and between those 2% there's an at and then include, and then after that space, it's going to say, okay, you need to include the file. Yes. So which file? I'll need to give the reference. I'll say go to the includes and then include the header.jsp. Same goes for the footer. I also want to include the footer as well. So this is included in the footer. Yeah. And let me just cut this out and, paste it onto the footer so that I don't end up. Yeah, there we go. All that, included jargon is now in the header and footer. I don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. So now if I refresh this page, as you can see, we have the CSS effect back. And if I try to view the page source, as we can see, we have all the Bootstrap CDN linked and also the JavaScript Bootstrap CDN links, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is the benefit of including these headers. So now, even if I create many other JSP files, like home.jsp file, contact us.jsp file, I don't have to write that header files again and again. I don't have to write all of this code again and again and again. I just have to include the header file and boom, that's done for me. Okay.
So it's work like a function. We
yeah,
just call the function, so we display it.
yeah, very much. It's the functional. Yeah, you are very you are very much right that header dot including including files to other files is the basic functionality of the JSP, and it's also beneficial at many points. Your time is lot much saved when you include the files that the code that you are going to write again and again is already there. So why you have to write that code again and again? You can spend that time to other useful works. So coming back to this, I'll close this includes one. Now, now keeping this thing in mind, that a lot of JSP work is already a lot of CSS and designing work is already done for us in the Bootstrap. So always to look at the documentation of Bootstrap. That's the one thing that I'm going to keep. So now right here, I'm going to create the home page, a simple home page that would represent our, product page and all of the things. So in the header file, the first thing that I need to do is I need to work on this title thing, right? Hello World is not a very good title for the, online market system. So I'll remove this one. And here, I will write some Java code. Now this is very, this is the very basic thing that we're going to start from, that I want if any user visits my website, I want its title to be based on that page he has selected. And that's something I can say a little bit challenging, but okay, let's start that with now. So for instance, the name of my market is something that I know. This is, for instance, it is called online supermarket. I know that, okay, but I also want that it is, the structure of the title of this tab should be like this. For instance, if I let me open up the notepad. For instance, if any of my user visits the home page, then it should be like home dash online supermarket, right?
Yeah.
And for instance, if any one of the user visit about us, then it should be like about us dash online supermarket, right? And so, like it should be similar to what I'm doing this here right now, because it is very important to set this thing here, and it can be easily done. Let me show you. I will close this one. And here to write, okay, so first to write the Java code, we have to use the same tags that we had used there, like this. Okay, greater than, smaller than, percentage sign, then percentage sign, and then greater than. And is this font visible to you guys?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah.
Yes, brother.
Okay. From the next time I'll make it more. I'll zoom it a little bit. Okay, so in this, in between these tags, is the screen with? Okay, okay. Okay, so in between these tags, I'm going to write the Java code. So first, I'm going to say string uh, title is going to be what the title is going to be. Now that's interesting. So the title is going to be, I would say, request dot get parameter, and I would call this, for instance, page underscore title. Now the one thing that we're all familiar with is that when we access any of this thing, we need to keep this thing in mind, that okay, we are accessing this page, but when we are going to access any link, this page is going to be the end result. So this request, what this request is, this is the first thing that should be in our mind. And when I go to its definition, okay, so let me just, okay, so this request is the HTTP servlet request. Let me show you HTTP servlet request. Okay, so as we know, when we work in these backend technologies, there's always two things that are always pondered by the developer. That is, number one is the request that is being requested by the user, and number two, the data requested by the user, or any data that is being sent to the server as a request, and any data that is being responded back to the server at its to the user at its request. Okay, so basically the request sends the data and the response actually outputs the data, right? So here When any of the user visits the page, it would check first that if the user is visiting the data, if the user is visiting the page, number one, and number two, it is going to check that, okay, if I have visited any link, then it would request the page, and then after that it would check that whether this parameter page title has the data of the title. For instance, in our home page, there is no requested data like this, like, so there's no page title requested, so it's going to be null. Obviously it's going to be null. There is no reason behind that. But for instance, if we visit about us page, or if we visit, for instance, any other page that has this data, then what will happen? Then it is going to initialize this data onto the string title, and then we are going to showing that we are going to show that in the title over here. So how we can do that? So first of all, I need to check. I need to make sure that this title is not null. But if it is null, what should I do? Okay, I would say title not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, then okay, it will have this request parameter. But if it is null, then it is going to have a default value of home. So I will do the same here, that, or maybe I can do it here instead of doing the ternary operator thing. If it is null, then the title should be home. Okay, so the title string is set. Now let me explain it again. Please, my brothers, if you don't understand anything, you can ask me anytime. Okay, you can stop me there, you can ask me anytime. Okay, if I'm too fast.
Okay,
Okay.
brother.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, so let me repeat this one again. When we request any resource from the server, okay, the request variable, this is the default variable from the HTTP request, and HTTP response are by default variables from the servlets. So this request is going to contain the data that is being requested, okay, that is being sent to the request by any form or by any other servlet, and it contains that data. Okay, and in response is the data that what we are going to send to the user. Okay, so these are very two major things, that what is going to be in response and what can be requested. What can be, I want this to happen in response, I want this data to be in response. So I'll explain everything in later, but here the request contains the data. What data? What kind of parameter? It contains the page underscore title, it contains the title data. Or right now, for instance, if anyone visits home, its title is going to be null. The title, if the title is null, then the title is going to be home. Okay, if it is not null, then it could be any sort of title. So there are two things that we can do, or there's only one good way to show the variable data. It is the same, but if I write title here, it's not going to work. So what I need to do, I need to add the equal sign here. In this way, it's going to show that, hey, are you trying to request the title? Or sorry, are you trying to show the value of the title? And it will show the value of the title. This equal sign will actually pop up the value for this title tag. Now, if I refresh the page, as you can see, the home title is already there for us. See? Okay, that's good. Now, moving on, I'll leave this one, and now let's come up to the design part. Now, let's navigate the nav bar so that we can add a good navigation bar to our project. Okay, I'll select this one because it has many components being already signed to there, but okay. Now here's the catch. One thing I said already, that navigation navigation bar, this navigation bar is going to be the same for all of our projects, right?
Yeah.
And now what we need to do here, we need to add another JSP file that would that will have navbar.
Mm.
Okay, and we will be including the navbar every time we need, and will not include the navbar where we don't need the navbar. See, so I'm going to copy this navbar here, and so who can tell me what should we need to include here?
File includes slash navbar.jsp.
Z- that's great. Okay, yeah, and then navbar. Okay, so in between the header we have the navbar and then the footer. So I'll do this, I'll do like this, I'll indent it one time so that we can know that we are including the navbar. And if we try to refresh our page, as we can see, we have the navbar included in our page. See, so simple. I just copied that from the Bootstrap, and then I included that, and boom, the full-fledged navigation bar is here with me. That's great. Now I can focus mainly on the navbar. Okay, so I will go here. I would say, okay, this is the navbar, and what would I do here? So uh, it is okay in light, but we can also change this to dark if we want to. For instance, like, if I change it to dark, what would happen? Let's see. Okay, that is more great. And yeah, okay, so I would say I want this to be home, and refresh this. Okay, it is home. And also one thing I want to do, I need to include some icon to show here and also here. So this is how we need to do that. Okay, I think, brothers, this meeting is going to end in 10 minutes because I don't have the upgraded system of the Zoom. So just I'm sending you the new link. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, brother.
Thank you, please. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. So so where was I? Yeah. So we have done this home, and yeah. So I was thinking a way that we can include some image, some brand image like this here. See? So how can we do that? That's a question that we should ask. Now, as we can see that inside the container div and inside the navbar brand, they have included the image like this. So we can go to our code and check that if we can do the same. Okay, so in this code, let me just hide this one over here. Okay. So in our code, if we check that in our navbar brand, if we can see here inside the navbar brand, they have included the image over there. So what I would do, I would not remove this home, or I can remove this home, by the way, and I would include the image over here. So there you go. But now I need to, add some icons. So quickly I would go to the icon archive, and you can download the icons from anywhere you want, but I, use the icon archive. So I would go quickly over here, add some, for instance, I would search the word market over here quickly. And in here, there's this, for instance, I gathered this one, for instance. and I would download the ICO. Okay, let's call it uh, project icon, for instance, and it is stored over here. So I'll go to the folder, and inside our project, there's one thing that we need to do, that we need to create a folder called img. This img folder will contain all the images that we'll be using in our project. So I'll cut this one from here. I'll cut this one and I'll paste it over here. Okay. So now what are we going to do here? The first thing first. First, I'm going to close this one because it's getting messy. Now, the one thing that I'm going to do here is that I'm going to include this one over here. Now, please do analyze it, what kind of mistake will happen here. Okay. So I will go to the img and I'll go to the project icon. So right now I'm hoping, okay, I have defined the path here in the source, and as like anyone, we are expecting the image to be displayed. But what if I go and refresh the page? The image is broken. Wow, that's something very challenging. Okay, no problem. I would say that I would go to the page source. I will go and inspect the element, and on inspecting the element, I I'll realize that the path. Okay, so let's go to the page source. So in as we can see, when I click onto this one, the link that is being embedded here is wrong. It is obviously it cannot found this one. So it's saying the local host 8084. Uh, that's my project running, and then the image. It doesn't contain any project name. It's only the server name, and then requesting the image. So it's not going to work because the link is wrong. The path is wrong. So what do we need to do now? As I've told you today earlier, that in our configuration files, we have this context.xml that contains our context path, okay? A relative path that we can use everywhere to, reference the project that we are using onto the server. So what we can do here is that I need to include that request, a context path, so that when it will be rendered onto the HTML, it would easily request the image from the server. So I'll remove these two dots. I'll add the same tag that I had used here in the header to, to show the value of the variable, like this equal sign. I'm going to use this tag same over here. So what I'll do, I'll write the same tag and equal to sign, and then request dot get context path. So our request variable, our HTTP request servlet always contains the context path, whether we go anywhere in our project. So hopefully when I try to refresh the project, I can see the image. There we go. See? So now if I try to in with the page source again and verify the path, as we can see, online supermarket image and then the project name. And if I check the link, as we can see, the path is correct, and now the HTML page can easily locate the image as well. The next thing that I'm wanting to do is that I also need to show this icon over to this tab, because I don't want the Apache Tomcat icon to be here by default. So what should I do? Okay, now I would go to the header and I would try to display the icon. So to display the icon, it's going to be the same link. I'm going to show the icon, I guess. and the href, I'm going to use the same request dot get context path, and then image slash, and then it's going to be, what was the name, project underscore icon dot ico. Hopefully it will work. I'm sorry. Okay, let's check this out. No, it's not working. So let's try to Google this up. It's going to be a small code, tab icon HTML, and let me remove this one. Okay, so let's see if it works. But if it doesn't, then we're going to move on, because we're not going to. Okay, it's the same icon. Let me just, we can do the page, view the page resource, and let me see this. Okay, the path is right, the code maybe. Okay, so what code? Okay, this is the one. Okay, it's using the same thing, relation icon. Maybe I can try this one just for the sake of testing. Let's view the code. Okay. Okay, now. So right now it doesn't seem to get working. So we are going to leave that here, and we'll take a look at that, afterwards. However, coming back to our navbar, as we can see that now we need to, include some of the options. So based on the user logged in, we can also change the options onto our navbar. But for right now, I'm going to, include some basic options. Like for instance, I want what options can I embed over here? I would remove this disabled option, and I would copy the same thing, like home, for instance, contact us, and for instance, about us, and for instance, another one that says the FAQs, that we'll also design this one. And then if we try to refresh this, we have plenty of options over here. But the one thing that we need to verify is that this active class, okay, now see the effect, the difference when I remove this active class from here. So if I refresh this one, as you can see here, the uh, the home link with the active class is more white, and all of the other options are light color. See, so even here there's this disabled options. I would remove this one over here, and also this drop down needs to be somewhere else. So this is the drop down. I would say to go somewhere else. However, I'll just comment this out. For right now I don't need it, but maybe in future I may need this. So refresh the page, inspect it. Now even if I try to do it's also very much responsive. So if I try to check the responsiveness, as we can see, it's much responsive. And if I try to test this one, see, so we have lot of options over here when we are using Bootstrap. However, also I need to change this to login. I'll change this to div, yeah, and also to this to div, and I would remove this one. I don't want this. And on this button click, this login button click, I would add the code to the model that would generate the model login, and I want it to be, for instance, primary. Okay. I guess success was a bit better. We should keep it that way. Yeah. Okay. So we have this thing ready in front of us, and now we have our navbar ready. A simple basic navbar, but it is ready to work. Now, for instance, I need to fix this one, that when we go to this href, I want when it clicks on this icon or in home page, they're both going to be uh, they're going to be onto the home page. So what I will do here, I would just include that context path like this, request.get context path. It is going to be, if I refresh this, as you can see, it is the same, right? Even if you inspect this, as you can see here also, the source that it says online, and also one thing, as you can see, the path is the same, right? So we'll also do that with the home, so that when we click these, we are onto the home page without any problem. So this is the, you can say, a good facility, a good feature given to us by the JSP. And if I refresh this one, there you go. So what if, okay, so if anybody has any question, please feel free to ask until here.
No, it is clear, brother.
We clear? Okay.
Yeah. But when are we going to finish the meeting, brother? Because we have another meeting, me and Salim, at 5 p.m.
Yeah, okay. So I'll, we'll end up here, okay? Because I said that we'll be learning the JSP stuff, and then also we will cover with the project. So we'll end up here, and now I will just revise everything, and then we'll conduct another session tomorrow. Okay, so let me just
Okay,
revise.
thank you, brother.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so let me just revise this session, please. So so far so good what we have done today. So we have created this project that was online supermarket, and in this when we created this project, we had the four main folders: the web pages, the source packages, the libraries, and the configuration files that we explored. And then after that, in the web pages folder, I have created the CSS folder, I have created the images folder, the includes, and the JS folder. And in these folders would contain all the CSS images and scripting files respectively. And now and then after that, we had copied the template from the Bootstrap over here, and then copied the template from the Bootstrap. We have pasted the template over to here. And after that, we have divided the template into sections, into the header section, the navigation section, the footer section. When we are in our index page and we want to navigate to the header or nav bar or footer, we can also go to this this project pane, or what we can do is that we can hover onto the link, press Control, and then click onto the link. Then it will be onto the header.jsp. So what we have done in header.jsp, that we have copied the whole template over to here, and then all of the include files like footer, navigation, navbar, and header, footer, all are in the includes file. So the concept of having the includes file is that we don't have to write this header code, this HTML template again and again and again for every page that we'll be creating in this project thus far. And also same goes to the footer and navbar as well, because these are the components that are going to be the static components that are going to be the same every time we request a new page from the server. So what I have done, I have included the header.jsp and also the footer.jsp. And inside these two main tags, I have included the navbar. If we go to the navbar, press Control, click onto the link, then as we can see, we in this solely in this JSP file, we could concentrate onto the code of the navbar. Same goes to the footer, and same goes to the header as well. Then also what I have covered today in this lecture is that in the header file, what we did, we had decided that when any user try to access any page based on the page that it is accessing, the user surely will get the title of the page when the JSP is going to open at the end, or it's going to render at the end. So the request will, the value that will be in this request parameter will be initialized in the title string. It will check during the rendering of the JSP page, when it will be converting the JSP to HTML, it will be checking whether this title is not null. If it is null, then it is going to be home. If it is not null, then it's going to be whatever the value is assigned to the title variable. And it will be displayed like this using the JSP tag that is smaller than %sign equal to name of the variable, percentage, and then greater than sign. The tags of the JSP, I know there are many tags of the JSP, but some of which I remember because I use them very often. So you will also remember them when you'll use them as well. However, after that, what we have done, we have included this image, the project image, and showed that to the navigation bar over here, and also try to do to this tab icon, but I don't know why it's not working. We'll figure this out at the end because it's not that much important for right now. And if we try to do, for instance, hook up to this header again, and we can also do this, that after coming out from this tag, like we can do like this online market system, and if you try to refresh the page, you can see it's already working. So we also changed some design of the navbar, and this is the activity of today's session that was conducted thus far. So any questions from you guys, please do let me know.
It is clear, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from you, brother?
Salim went to pray, I think.
Yeah,
he said
please.
he will watch the recording.
Yeah, sure.
I just come back.
Yeah, he came back.
Okay. Yeah, so you can invite anyone who want to come here, and anyone who want to watch, who want to see what the JSP is and how the stuff works, then these are all for them. Okay, so I love to entertain all of them, and the recording I'll be posting onto my YouTube channel also, and then you can also share that to the other persons and learn from it as much as you can, because that's the motto of mine, to deliver the knowledge that I have in my hands.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Osama, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So let me just just wait a second. I'll stop this recording from here, and